I keep going over this in my head because I really want to like these people because I'm like, oh, here's your family.
Right.
You didn't know about. And everything was like, oh, man.
So in 1776, people like Joseph Mabie would have heard these words. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. So what does that mean for Joseph Mabie? But also, what does that mean for the other people who are living in this area?
Cobus Mabie, Joseph his brother, and the rest of the family called some Indians to their house, gave them as much rum as made them beastly drunk, and then threw 3 of the drunkest of them into a sled prepared for that purpose, without their blankets, and carried them to Yellis Funda's house in order to bring them to Albany to sign a deed for the land they live on. The 2 above-mentioned Indians, Hayes and Joseph, overtook Mabie with the 3 drunken Indians, took them by force from Mabie, and sent them home, much enraged against Mabie for the villainous trick he and his family had served them. Whew. I'm feeling a little uneasy here. So they got them drunk and then took them out into basically freezing torture, and they were going to take them to Albany, presumably to sign a deed for the land they live on. I'm not sure where we are in time.
This is 1765.
I can't believe that all of these family members, how could they all condone this behavior? John Butler and Henrik Fry Esquires arrived here and reported to Sir William that they had last Thursday warned Jacobus Mabie and his grandmother, Eve Pickard, to remove in 18 days' time off the Indians' land agreeable to the governor's orders, and that they, the said Mabie and Eve Pickard, promised to comply with said order, on which the Indians made a long speech to the justices, returning the governor Sir William and them many thanks for the justice done to them in the affair. At least in all of these recountings, I'm moved by the even-handed dealing of the Mohawk Nation, you know? The Europeans came in and established these sort of rules, and the Mohawks said, guys, these are your rules. Mm-hmm. We're following your rules. This lady and her 17 grandsons are not following your rules. I'm curious to find out whatever became of Eve and her family and that land.
So I've done some digging into the documents here in the land records, and I've got some things that I think you might find interesting. It was difficult to get people to sign up as soldiers, right? Because they're leaving behind their families, they're leaving behind the ability to make money. There's the probable likelihood of injury or death. And so how do you get these people to be willing to fight? Let's give them land.
Let's give them land.
Especially when money can be challenging to come by.
Right. And in consequence is entitled to a certain tract of land, situate on the south side of the Mohawk River in the county of Montgomery, containing 1,213 acres and a half acre. So the land described here in this document, this is the same land Eve was fighting to keep decades earlier.
Exactly.
Great-grandma Eve tried to get this land for the family, and the last I heard before this, they were evicted.
Native Americans, especially these Mohawk people who allied themselves with the British in the Revolutionary War, they see that they're going to be on the losing end, which they never would have anticipated. So by the 1780s, most of the Mohawk people have left this land. We know that most of them have ended up traveling with the British or to British property in Canada. So it sounds like these folks decided to go ahead and leave it and try to build other communities where they would be safer and be able to prosper. Joseph Mabie comes in, and his document completely skips over any of those other claims that Eve or the other family members were making, right? This is not about Indian deeds or anything like that. This is just, I served in the army. I'm entitled to bounty lands. May I have these lands, please?
Yeah.
And they respond positively.
I keep going over this in my head because I really want to like these people
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, here's your family.
Right.
You didn't know about. And everything was like, oh, man.
So in 1776, people like Joseph Mabie would have heard these words. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. So what does that mean for Joseph Mabie? But also, what does that mean for the other people who are living in this area? To whom do those rights apply? That if Joseph is a piece of your story, and if Eve is a piece of your story, you are also a piece of theirs, which means you still have some choices that you can make about what it means to be a part of that family and what it means to be an American.
It's true. Thank you. That is inspiring. And so now I'm wondering what happened to this piece of land that was in my family.
The land is now part of Herkimer County, and there are a number of different people who own it, but I did some calling and was able to speak to somebody, and they did give permission for you to come by and walk this land that your ancestors walked on and spend some time with it.
That is crazy. And I can't wait to tell my family all about this. So being here on this land, it's powerfully moving.
Yeah, pretty amazing. I have to admit there's a little bit of pride because I thought we'd be discovering some man, follow what the man did. No, it's a woman, a female ancestor. But honestly, if I feel any emotion, I feel for those Mohawks that felt like they didn't have any choice. It's pretty sad for that side of the story, I think. Mm-hmm.